The meaning of Traflagler Law. Everybody's favorite One Piece character. Now, how do I feel about Trafalgar Law? This is a political statement about the government that was really ordered for me to make for my role in this plan of All My God Guy. And Lily, for this plan of Lily, this government shutdown, COVID has been in the making for a long, long time. But what if I tell you that Trafalgar Law has something to do with the government as a whole, instead of it actually be you thinking that it's lore? It has lore, but it has more government elements to it than you think. What Trafalgar Law is he's on a mission. So let me bar you guys up real quick. What do you see first thing in Trafalgar Law? Drip. Well, what if I told you I didn't like him when I first saw him? But I liked him over time, but he was never my favorite. What if I tell you that I like Luffy better than Law, and I always like Luffy better than Law? But what if I told you I even like Corazon better than Law? But let me tell you, do you even know what Law's power is based off of? What is the real-life reference to Trafalgar Law's power? Room Shamble, where goes around comes around, the way of this universe. And here we have today the CERN machine. What is the CERN machine? Well, I'll put it like this. Scientists who literally were ahead of time, literally, the government over at NASA developed a program in order to teach kids literally what's right from wrong, literally without influence. Because what is the CERN machine? The CERN machine is literally an exaggeration on literally reality as a whole. What it does is it shifts gravity to whatever you want. It's a gravity shift, literally. They say it's an Illuminati conspiracy today, but there's a scientific definition of why it can happen. Room shamble. Because literally the CERN machine works on a room shamble principle. So what they did, this all goes back to early Morrigan Tsunami, quite around the Android saga. Akira Toriyama was told about it. If you don't know, Japan has already advanced in terms of technology, so a CERN machine is nothing new, and a CERN machine is nothing compared to the older generation. Because the reason why is because the CERN machine was made to face the older generation. You know why? Because everything the older generation can do, the CERN machine can do it for a second, which defeats the purpose of hard work. So they put it out there. So we're gonna make this thing that's visible to gangs that literally is gonna create rumor on top of rumor on top of rumor. But guess what? When did we first figure out about the CERN machine? Around the same time when anime came out, like 2005, 2000 this and that. Do you know why? Because Akira Toriyama wasn't thinking about, you see this purposely writing and this literally subconscious writing and Lily. No, Lily. He wasn't Lily planning on doing that. He heard Lily something about it, Lily, that they were gonna Lily use this government Lily machine Lily to take over the world and stuff like that. And Akira Toriyama laughed at it, he wrote it, and that's kind of like what he was, it might have been on his mind, but if it's on your mind and it's not intentional, then it's not intentional writing. You don't get points for that. I can tell so much shit that was on Kishimoto's mind where he was writing this character and this character, but it's not intentional writing. Intentional writing is literally Gower's tattoo of love. Do you know what that symbol is? That's a gang member symbol. It's to let you know that that guy's with the shit. He has a gangster ass backpack that looks like a fucking peanut. Lee, his arms are always filled to calm, cool, and collect. Lily, he has raggedy fucking hair like Chucky. Lily, he has really, really nice drip exteriors. He has a cold persona, and guess where that's from? Guess what that represents? The long lost gangster who needs a mother, who needs love and respect, who left his mom, stuff like that. Yes, Gara represents that. That's the part Kishimoto's writing. That is intentional writing. You can't blame the Android saga on the CERN machine. That's not intentional writing. Okay, so let's get that out the way. So how did this all start? It all started off with Yu Yu Hakusho. We already knew that there was an age demographic of anime that they heard that kids were coming up thinking that they didn't have to listen to Eminem, or they had to ignore Eminem's message. So it's all happened from my brother's generation, literally using their CERN machine, trying to act gangster in schools, like, hey, you know, there's the Illuminati and shit like that. So it claimed to literally have Illuminati conspiracy, but in the actuality, the scientists created conspiracy theories for us to certainly trip. What they did is they saw mankind like Lily taking advantage of the system, but not going through the stages to know that there's a man on top. You see, they kept on blaming the man, but they forgot to realize why there was a man on top. So society created a political system in order to fool you, in order to get you whatever you fucking want. And so we'll come down to morals instead of actual, you know, superpowers. And so literally, because what they do is like the CERN machine is something that's made to prove a social point in school. It was made to trap criminals and made to make you think you're the fucking shit. Because what they would do is they would abuse the system, but since they were going along with evolution, literally, there's a form of the CERN machine in Japan, like you have to understand, it's a translator. What it does is like literally, it's a filter that gives you everything you want within that amount of time, but it's not. They were always doing that. Literally, there's a physical way to use the CERN machine, and it's called gravity. Everything revolves around gravity. Humans and pieces are puzzles of gravity. Like if you put a whole bunch of people through shit and stuff like that, it doesn't matter if they get pussy. They'll think that they're a virgin, like literally because of how much shit you put them through and how little perspective you give them. A girl can literally ride a nigga in his fucking sleep, but if you keep on calling him pussy every day, you keep on calling him a fucking bum, you keep on calling them this, and that, they're not gonna know a single girl. It's like, because they're too numb to the fucking insult, they're too fucking numb to everything fucking going on. So literally, you call that superpower, that's when bitches become imaginary. When you start literally controlling your environment to a point where they don't matter, they might as well be fucking imaginary. That's literally what the CERN machine fucking does. They use the CERN machine specifically for that, in order like literally to prove social statements and shit. Like no, you can do the same thing like with your mom, literally, like Uncle David, like literally, his son-in-law Ray, literally, freaking like literally, he was trying to like close the fucking trunk door and shit. So like, literally, what he had to do was he had to make sure that there was a little crack. He had to see what was budging. Literally, he tried literally budging it down 3 times each and every fucking time. He knows something was stuck. It wasn't just stuck. He had to move shit around. He had to take stuff out. He had to put it back in. But literally, once he realized it, then he did all that already. So guess what happened? Like literally, when something was blocking the chuck, what he did was he chopped the thing 3 times with the fucking chuck. He's like boom, 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 and went down the thing until it finally went down, and then he pushed it in. The older generation, like literally, that is what you could do. But the CERN machine takes concepts like that and makes you do it for a second. And it was made to combat the older generation. This is what I'm telling you. It ain't shit. So what it does is it makes you custom songs. It does this and that. But really, it's just a computer generator. Have you ever used Photofunia? Have you ever used Photoshop? You know where a filter is? Like literally, where you make yourself look better. That's all you're fucking using. All you're doing is a fucking big ass bass decorating what the fuck you want and shit. Literally, it's made to prove what social interactions. Like what they used to do with me in high school is literally fucking, hey, you listen to this music and shit like that, and they literally have the perfect beat, perfect four count, perfect everything to get you by the fucking day. But that's why it's made by the fucking CERN machine. It's specifically made to prove a point. And when it comes down to it, it doesn't actually, help you. It says that it has like literally fucking, and side effects and shit, and niggas don't believe it and shit. It literally, I'm fucking crazy, like, because literally, I figured out that you're using this shit, then you have a superpower, but it was specifically made for that. So let's backtrack a little bit. Before you attack me, I want you to attack me down crazy. Okay, CERN machine, so literally, so what's gonna happen? So we view, like, literally, cartoons, right, 2D animations. So what happens in Yu-Gi-Oh? You know in Yu-Gi-Oh how monsters are just a projection? Well, you use the CERN machine long enough, guess what's gonna happen? Those projections are gonna become actual fucking monsters. So say we live in a world where we can talk to, like, computer avatars and shit, and literally you use the service, escape out of trouble, to use this and that, and where it comes out there, you're gonna say that I'm hanging out with my imaginary friend, right? But you're already using a fucking superpower, so it's even. So it comes down to, like, literally, what the fuck, literally, it comes down to morals instead of literally actually being flashy. Like, literally, are you gonna make fun of me when you're the one trying to be Superman and shit, and I'm the one trying to get a job and shit, and you use the CERN machine to make me have a fake criminal record and shit? Ooh, you can tear a nigga apart so many fucking ways, and it ain't funny because you were lying that shit just like it's a fucking gun. Like, you don't have to go to your shooting range and shit. I'm done. Like, literally, you're fucking shit. Like, literally, it's automatically making you fit in. And literally, what it does is, like, literally, it helps you prove a point, but it doesn't get an end result. It does everything but get an end result. It literally says it to their fucking tutorial. It's made to prove a point, but when you're older, like, you have to fight to survive. You realize points are meaningless. You don't know how many times people try to trap me with the fucking CERN machine because it has human limitations because it's made for fitting in school. No, attack me, call me crazy, say the CERN machine doesn't exist. Let's go back to their history. So Traflagler law symbolism of One Piece is telling you what's going on literally with the fucking world, like at the time, why I wasn't getting played in high school, why this is all fucking unorthodox, why you have your way, is all because of their CERN machine, and it's all based on room sample principle. Like when I was in a rap battle, I realized that you could use the CERN machine literally to hide people's crowd reactions, but it also has a mask. It works off a mask. Like say somebody has autism, I have Asperger's, and on Asperger's on paper it says you would come back and literally be a normal person in society. But say if you have Asperger's, you end up saying the same thing over and over again when you don't want to. I learned how to be funny and shit, and what they would do is they use the CERN machine. I'm like, why am I saying the same thing over and over again while I'm telling myself to stop? Because you're selling the soul while I be fucking gangster. What it does is like literally you can share modern people, you can do this and that. I'm like, literally this and that. I'm like, dude, this is all fucking virtual reality because the end result pans out to normal shit. Like literally, we end up still living in society, we still eat good food, we still go out, we still dance, we still go to nightclubs, we still do this and that. The only thing is like literally people critique like this and that, and like you're wondering why you don't get a girlfriend, but you're still able to get a job and stuff like that. Because they give you limitations within reality, people are forced to face reality. You get what I'm saying? And that's what they don't get, and they specifically made it to keep people tracked by criminal activity. They use it as a tracking device because you try to use a certain machine on a cop, guess what it's going to do? It can't stop a court date. Literally, it's funny. Let's backtrack a little bit. So please call me crazy. Say that shit doesn't exist. Please say that shit doesn't exist. But from Yu Yu Hakusho, read Inuyasha, and that is where we have the certain machine. So guess what, buddy? When I was watching Inuyasha, it was in the daytime. But guess what happened? They started playing it on Adult Swim. First they played it on Toonami, but then they played it on Adult Swim, and I was there for both those times. It's like, is that little black kid watching? Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to show you what you like, right? And we're going to literally, you know why you like it, right? But you're going to grow up with a whole bunch of people blaming the fact that it looks pretty, and they're going to tell you, grow up and this and that, but you already know what you want. And since you know, and they got it from a fantasy, you're going to end up living like this guy named Sesshomaru. You know the second ending of Inuyasha? I ended up literally becoming a gang lord, like literally just walking around all day, listening to our music 24/7, and that was every for Saturn, like, this is what you're going to be when you grow older. People are going to constantly tell you to grow up. You see how clean that nigga is? This is how people view you in society. Everybody's going to tell you otherwise. And so that, oh yeah, I'm just being selfish, but I'm getting to a point. Did you not make that connection at Yu Yu Hakusho and Inuyasha airing at the same time when a little black kid was heavily devoted to watching Dragon Ball Z? They're gonna attack Dragon Ball Z saying there's a whole bunch of kung fu fighting with no storyline, this, that. So we're gonna give you content like this and that. And when you rely on this, when you're bored, they're gonna say that literally this is the bane of your existence. And they're gonna tell you to watch this and watch every single episode of these animes that you heavily like for what it is. You know these are animes that you have to literally watch episode by episode and cherish. So we're gonna literally create excuses for these nerds to call these anime shit, basically, because of we're gonna give them excuses like mainstream. We're gonna give them excuses, do this and that. Well, I'm gonna give you these three animes, you're gonna play off this. If it's not Dragon Ball Z, they gotta be this entertaining. So we're gonna really start making low grade anime after low grade anime after low grade anime in order for you to recognize the drip and recognize why. So guess what's going to happen? We're going to keep the momentum good, but then we're going to change the theme. So they went to Naruto and Naruto Shippuden, and that's why the theme changed dramatically. Because they heard that they weren't getting the message. The whole point of anime is to show you the right path to take. Anime gives you multiple perspectives in life, and you have to look at it. It can't just be fun all the time. Which is why Kishimoto specifically structured Shippuden to be more dark and more ambient versus the original series that had a better soundtrack that was upbeat. It's called Growing Up. Of course, it's going to get more quiet. Of course, it's going to be more you analyzing the situation. Of course, it's going to be you being more technical. You're going to end up not leaving yourself open as much in a fight, and that's the reason why it was so spontaneous, and that's because you're a little kid. You imagine this. They're treating you like a little girl, and you're treating every single situation like a girl that's watching two guys fight over them. You see how they're swinging randomly like a fucking monkey and shit like that? You can't control a guy who's blocking, who's being fucking composed and shit, who's actually learning for his fucking mistakes and shit so you're going to be the girl always trying to get them to swing just because it's entertaining to you, but you don't even want to learn that's not the key to how to win a fight. You don't ever want to learn how a fight works, but you always want to see that happening specifically. You always want this and that to keep you entertained instead of you actually thinking you want the fight scene and thing for you and shit. No, that can't happen. And what I learned more is I love those fight scenes when I actually learned about martial arts even more, and that was meant for me too. And then they started making fighting games for me past 2018, 2019. They started making fighting game after fighting games in order for me to tell you community this is what they want. And so how was I introduced to a 2D fighting game like Fire Z? The graphics, the drip kept me involved. Why was so used to Tekkaichi? Well, they gave me something else to think about. It's fast paced and there's a lot of shit going on. I don't see you being able to pull a Kamehameha in Street Fighter. And then we come down to a classic debate where it comes down to that if nerds try to defend it, they know they're being gay. And that's how it always is in the community. But we made excuses and stuff like that because what they use, Traflagler Law is the hunky man of the community. Everybody wants to ride Traflagler Law's nuts, and I'm here to tell you that Law is a very good character, but not for that reason. You know why I like Law? Because of his attitude and how he deals with the situation, how he views life, and how he's funny. And so that I don't view him for his power. I don't view this not. I feel like he's catchy. I feel like this not. I feel he's also handsome, by the way. Not being gay, but it's the actual truth. I have him on the back of a shirt. Notice everything that the average anime fan doesn't notice about him. Do you know why? Because of the way he portrays himself. The way he portrays himself is why I like Traflagler Law. Not his power, not his ability, not what he contributes to One Piece. I don't care about what he contributes because anime fans got so obsessed with that he contributes, and he's a character with a lot of drips. So when I make this video, they're probably a bunch of anime fans talking to me, oh, he's probably going to use a drip as an excuse. No, I like his power too, but I know what his power revolves around. Gravity. What goes around comes around. That comes with karma and stuff like that. And so when Traflagler Law came in, he's like, epic foreshadowing for the future. I'm going to be gone for our arc called Wano, and you're gonna figure out that this guy is the whole reason why I'm here. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of excuses with lore, but you're going to ignore my character design, but you're also going to ignore my backstory or core zone, and he's going to explain everything to fucking you, Lily, what my real highlight is if you pay attention to shonen versus what's going on in your personal lives. You see, they started making anime better if you're an axe or nerd who hate Lily, who plays all video games, Lily, who just has Lily fucking basically drip to fall back on. At that point, like, anime is converted to drip because they're selling for less and they know it, but they have substance in other places. If you're trying to get to know the world, if you're trying to fuck bitches with specifically why they made me Shisharu, like Lily, they didn't make him for me specifically. They're like, you see this? So what they did was this. You know how I have a whole bunch of character designs and nons? Guess what they did? They showed me Hiei, and they're like, there's this little black kid that loves Dragon Ball Z. So Yu Yu Hakusho came on the air, and so Lily, as soon as the first thing popped in my mind, I'm like, Hiei. His head kind of looks like Vegeta's and stuff like that. But I can also, the only thing that's different is the little the white lines. Lily, the only difference is his white in his hair. So what the government did, and I thought that was pretty cool. So Lily, from then on, I'm like, you see this? I want you to do this, but I want you to do this with that, and it happened over time. They waited till like Lily, and they even when the air came out, like, so how old is he now? Like, Lily, this and that, and then Lily is like, Lily, fucking so Lily, and then they heard that I was getting into a gang war. That Lily, I learned from my mistakes when you get high. I went to a new high school and I started putting girls, but then they were gone the next year, and so even the Japanese that knew that they're game members. So Lily, so what's going on in the fight? Because if they're actually trying to make a game fight, we have to make it prepared. Lily, they didn't know if it was today or back then, so they slowly graduated me in the fight. That's why they created Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 when they have unlimited chakra. In order for me to get the gist of it, I'm like, are they making a stamina problem? Because from my statistics for all my editors, this kid's kind of short. Are they making it a stamina problem? And so they created Storm Generations stuff like that. I'm like, Lily, well, we're gonna make the system rigged and stuff like that on purpose and stuff. Lily, so they kept on like in Kishimoto, everybody like, what is going on with this black kid? Lily, why is the gang doing this and that? And if you watch my entire channel, I didn't know how gangs work. I didn't know they worked out pride. I'm like, isn't winning what you want? I'm like, no, what he wants is he wants to keep his pride. He wants to front thinking that he can beat you wearing land sign. So what he's gonna do? They start like Lily. They had to throw fakes at Lily. They had to set up shit. They had to do a whole lot of other shit like Lily because I would always parry like hit in Dragon Ball Super. Ding ding ding. Lily, I had a parry style when I fought. I was a southpaw parry fighter. And like Lily, and they're all like, oh, what happens if we're technical instead of you? And then make me move around, and they would wait for me to get off balance. Exactly. Especially with the Surf Machine, and when the Surf Machine, what it works off is it works off time, right? It works off time, and time it has gravity. Time and gravity. Go look up the reasons how time and gravity are intertwined, which is why you believe that stupid Illuminati conspiracy bullshit. What it does is it gives a gangster an extra excuse to not go all out. You know how gangsters will get on you if you're not going to school, but you're on the street, but you're fucking bitches. Is like, hey, what do you think you're doing? If you're using our techniques, you might as well join us. Oh, I'm sorry, man. It's not like I was gonna be content watching cartoons forever. I'm never gonna get laid, huh? So I'm never gonna learn how to fight to get laid, huh? If you have a concept, you beat the Surf Machine. Because if you're doing good, the Surf Machine is only a mask. It can only mask for so long, and that's what the mask comes a delay. So like Lily, so if you step to the side in a fight, what they can do is they can stop your movement with the fucking Surf Machine, and they can hit you, but they can't get an end result. Like they can't make you bleed, they can't make you do this and that, but they can embarrass you in the fight. That is the power of the Surf Machine. Lily, it's made to prove a fucking soul support. That really fucking sucks when you learn how to do survival. I'm like, you use this little fucking toy, it's like a bopper to fit in. All you're doing is literally putting fucking shirts in the fucking whirlpool of fucking colors and shit and watching them come out with a design. It has no effect if you keep on telling the truth because literally you have to leave room. But literally what it does is it makes it annoying because if you have a little bit of a room, it can expand on it, so it can only delay. So if you have a fucked up concept and you use a Surf Machine, good luck. And Lily, so he can end the fight quicker with the fucking Surf Machine. He can do this and that, and Lily, but he can't beat me if the fight drags on. And like Lily, so Kishimoto, everybody doing all like, whoa, fucking, what are they fucking doing? Like, if they didn't hang out with me, I never told this shit on YouTube, but now that I spoke this whole shit on YouTube, you can tell. So what's gonna happen is Lily, they might be able to beat me in the fight, but they have to resort to every nook and cranny in order to do it, and they won't be able to keep their pride intact. Like Lily, because of what I'm gonna resort to. Like Lily, I'm not gonna Lily go down so easily, and Lily fight fights come with humiliation too, Lily. That's another part of the fight. Once everything's established, once they already knew I had a couple of kids in 2018, basically, fucking, they gave me Fighter Z, and they gave me a whole lot. We're gonna teach them how to fight, Lily, and then we're gonna create COVID. We're gonna make this everything. So let's go down. Who is really wrong? You or Eris? You were Eris. Eris recognized the pattern. Eris recognized this anime was similar to the other anime. Eris actually watched Fairy Tail. Eris actually made the comparisons of Dragon Ball Z and Fairy Tail. He understood the anime was always weird, so he didn't care about watching Fairy Tail. So, Lily, you go talk to your imaginary projection friend through a server screen, or you gotta actually like deal with your fucking life. Like you said, it can do anything but get end result, but it can prove any point you want. You can go look up Lily what you can do on there and everything. It's really, really fucking weak. It doesn't get in the warrior of a soul. It doesn't. Traflagler Law, the meaning of anime. This is why we have Traflagler Law.